Okay, let's look at another example here. Here I already have a Venn diagram drawn. I have the circle A. Inside the circle A, it says Susie, Tom. In the overlapping area, it says Dot. Inside circle B, it says Mike, Lisa. And out here, we have the name George. And out here, we have the name George. So if I asked you from this Venn diagram to tell me what the set A is, you would look at this set and you would label Susie, Tom, then you would also say, well, Dot is in the A circle. Just because it's in that overlapping area doesn't mean it's not still in A. So you would put Dot in A and then you would close your curly brace because there are no other elements that are in that A circle. If I asked what B is, you would say, okay, well, that's Mike, Lisa, and Dot. And then if I asked you what the universal set was, well, you would list out everything in A, everything in B, and everything in the outside. So Susie, Tom, Dot, Mike, Lisa, and George. And if I asked you to find A union B, well, that's the union, that's all of everything. So you would start off listing off A, Susie, Tom, Dot, and then you would continue listing the elements in B, but not writing any duplicates. So Mike, Lisa, and I don't write Dot again because Dot is already written. So the union is everything inside both circles, including that overlapping area. Then if I asked you to find A intersect B, well, that is only this overlapping area. So what is in the overlapping area? That's Dot. You don't need the Venn diagram to be able to see that Dot is in the intersection, the only thing in the intersection. If you look at your sets, you just look at what do they have that's the same. So I go through my list in A. Susie, is Susie in B? No. Is Tom in B? No. Is Dot in B? Yes, it is. And so Dot would go in. And then we have no others that are overlapping. And so our intersect would just be Dot by herself. Then if I asked you to find a complement, well, that's all of the elements that are in the universal set except those that are in A. So I would cross off Tom, I would cross off Susie, and I would cross off Dot because those are the three that are in A. And so then I would have left Mike, Lisa, and George. Now, if I asked you to find A intersect B, and then I put parentheses around it, and I said the complement of that. Okay, so we have A intersect B. Now we need to find A intersect B complement. Well, it's going to be a set, so you always start with curly braces, and A intersect B was Dot, so you go up to the universal set. We're going to get rid of this Dot, and everything else we're going to leave in. So Susie, Tom, Mike, Lisa, George. The complement is everything that is in the universal set that is not in the set itself. Well, the set we were talking about was A intersect B. That was Dot. So we just cross that one out, and we have the other ones left. Lisa, George. Now suppose I asked you to give me A complement union B, the complement of that, intersected with A. So you have to break it down by parts. Go inside your parentheses first and figure out what that is. Well, when you're breaking these down, you always do any complements first, and then you do the union or intersection. and you do any parentheses, and then if you have a complement outside of a parenthesis, you do that complement, and then you use that together with my A. So first I go inside my parentheses. I have an A complement there. I need to know what A complement is in order to union that with B. Well, luckily we've already done A complement, and we decided that was Mike, Lisa, and George. So now I have to union this set, A complement, with my B up here. So we're going to write this down here just as a side note, A complement union B. We need to know what that is before we can take the complement of it. Well, A complement union B, the union is all of everything, so I just start writing Mike, Lisa, George. That was in A complement. And unioning that with B, I go up and I list anything else that was in B that I have not already listed. I've already listed Mike and Lisa, and then I have dot, so I'm going to list dot. Okay, so that's A complement union B. Then I have to complement that. So A complement union B complement is everything that's in the universal set that is not in A complement union B. Well, let's go through and let's make marks. So Mike, we're going to, actually let's just cross it off. Mike, Lisa, George, dot. Mike, Lisa, George, dot. Those are all the elements. Mike, Lisa, George, dot. We cross them off up here. And so what's left in the universal set is Susie and Tom. So A complement union B complement is just the set Susie, Tom. Okay, well, we're not done yet because they asked us to find A complement union B complement intersected with the set A. So I take a look at this. This is the set. I'm intersecting this set with the set A. The intersect is the overlapping. It's what they both have in them. Well, A had Susie, Tom, and this set has Susie, Tom. A also had dot, but dot is not in this set down here. So our answer for this problem, this was the problem we were asked, A complement union B complement intersected A is going to be the set Susie, comma, Tom. Because these two are also in the set A, Susie, Tom. We don't add dot because dot was not in that other set that we have down here. So our final answer is just Susie, Tom, and this is what we would enter into my math lab for this problem.